Hi, this is Kim Pinkney, and welcome back to my 100 Days of Making Comics and 100 Word Challenge. Today I am trying to focus on the first scene, and I have an idea of how I want it all to go, but I hadn't really made any really cool thumbnails. I just realized as I'm doing this is that I am terrible at architecture, but with this challenge, I guess that's one more thing I get to learn. And the first thing I'm creating is the juvenile hall. And as I'm going through this, it's taking me forever to create. This is the second, I think this is the second video. The first attempt that I tried to make the juvenile hall, it looked terrible. It was really bad. So I just trying to capture whatever's in your mind onto your medium. It's freaking hard, especially if you don't do this sort of thing on the regular. I draw people, and that makes me just happy. And as I was going through this, I'm like, okay, I'm putting all these fine details, I'm putting all this effort into this, and people are only going to glance over it. I mean, it's like, this is just something that's only going to be for maybe 2 or 3 panels. And so I was having, I don't know, a crisis of like, God, why am I even doing this? You know, I've seen some comic book work where people really go just nuts with how it's supposed to look, but truthfully I've only looked at that for less than a minute, long enough to get the gist of where we are, maybe soak in the ambiance just a smidge, and then move on to the story, and hopefully it doesn't suck, you know, that sort of thing. And so I'm like, okay, alright, instead of putting a lot of work into these backgrounds, I'm probably gonna do my best with what my abilities can muster, and move on. And I was looking at this and I'm like, this is really lacking. I mean, it's really boring. So I'm like, okay, alright, I need to make thumbnails. I really need to move on and come back maybe to this panel. And so I'm trying to make it work as best I can, and so I start to make the first comic page, and then I realize, you know, I really need this architecture. And then I'm like, you know, the words of Stan Lee came to mind, and I can't remember where I heard him say this, but he says, those who fail to plan to fail. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make thumbnails, gosh darn it. And I had went out, got a cord for my old tablet, my Wacom pad, I guess, with the stylus and stuff, and thinking, okay, I'm gonna use this bad boy to make these thumbnails instead of, you know, putting it on paper. Since I'm in front of the computer, let me do that right here. So right now I'm just making some squares and trying to figure out where I want to put them, how many I want to put on there, and this is very convenient. I kind of like this idea, doing it in Flash. I make the squares and I duplicate them. I don't have to go out and buy any. I don't have to go for a search on any. I'm like, this is really freaking cool. And if I need to make duplicates, I just make a copy, and that's what I figure here. I start to type on the first template, and I'm like, it'll come to be like, I'm gonna have to recreate the wheel each and every time, or I'll have to like delete stuff. So I finally stop what I'm doing, and put more, what do you call those things? I forget what those dots are. keyframes, sorry. I'll put more keyframes up of blank templates, and I'm like, this rocks. So I'll start to work in layers as I'm creating my thumbnails here. Right now, I'm just jotting down everything that's in my mind on what's supposed to go into these squares. And I'll go ahead and read a little bit of what I came up with and what's playing in my head. See, this is where I'm making the keyframes. And I'm like, oh, how easy was this? And, okay, so, and then I just repaste what I had initially typed. And basically, it's going to be little thumbnails of what I'm about to read to you now. This is the synopsis for the first chapter. Chapter 1 is Introduction. Here's where the kids are brought to the school. They eventually make it to their school, and something happens, and the juvies are blamed for it, and they may not attend the homecoming ball. What happens, what I'm trying to, in my mind, I'm figuring, I want to get these kids in trouble right away. I need them to come together right away so we can get the story just rolling. And I have the town greet the new class. Every time a session starts, the kids they throw a big party, and it's a massive party. It's almost like a spring break for the town because they're just so excited to have youth and vibrancy back into town. They don't care if you're a good kid, a bad kid, if you are a princess or a prince. They don't care. They adore all the young people. And well, at least most of them do. Some of them just envy you, but there's a reason behind that, and that will come later. I just can't figure out which chapter I want to toss that into. But okay, so going on, Act 1, panoramic view, which is what I was trying to capture on the first one, with the first scene, the first freaking panel that I can't seem to grab. But it's a panoramic view. It's an overcast midday. Tons of people are entering into a juvenile hall. It's a large, white stately building with lots of pillars and judgmental statues. 3 in particular stand out near the fates, and rather than it showing the spinner, the measure, and the cutter, it has the cutter in the middle. She ends life and is facing forward and looking down as if the viewer is the one who makes the choice to give her the signal to end their life. So it's kind of like you make your choices in life is what these statues are kind of alluding to. And from the statue's eye view, overlooking the parking lot steps, adults, young adults, teens, some kids are hauled toward the entrance. Some struggling with handcuffs, others are willingly or being pulled to the entrance. And we see Willa Mae Puckett, and she's the one that's going to be on the cover here. I'm still trying to develop her. She's the one that is the picture today. Anyway, she caught her breath, and as she's taking steps, you can hear the man behind her struggling. He's checking out her butt, and as she's walking up the stairs, but he's out of breath. And she happens to catch this statue looking down at her, and it looks like it's kind of smiling and eyes narrowing, like it knows something. And it kind of startles her for a spell, but then she realizes who she's with, and it just fades, whatever. Okay, so they're walking into the building, and no one's happy. This is what I'm trying to convey in this thing, but I'm probably going to shorten it a lot. No one looks happy. Bird's-eye view from within the atrium of the building. Tons of people milling about the atrium. The floor is a strange mosaic of either a compass or a clock, or maybe both or neither. The boy descended from a room at the top of the stairs. Even if he cared to figure it out, the mosaic beneath the milling crowd, he didn't care. He was only passing through again. There are 6 large podiums with letters like A through D, E through I, etc. in gold letters. The podiums bear gigantic books and strange little menacing, no-nonsense women who wear these severe buns. They have picture name tag badges and very crisp uniform tops. Some have sidearms. Some bailiffs have sidearms, and they look tired and terribly unfriendly. They offer no pleasantries. They snarl for a name. The hint of teeth seem too pointed to believe. Occasionally, the pages shift quickly, and then the women point. Only one juvenile approaches a podium without an adult, and that's the boy who descended the stairs. All the women pause and watch Ace as he walks past them, cuts in front of Willa off a cordon room and into the atrium. He heads towards the M through Q room. Over the shoulder hip view of one of the women, who seems to be hovering, her hand's going to be hovering over her sidearm. The two women he passed between reach for their guns, careful just to hover over the grips, but don't pull them out. They all seem to even be holding their breath. And what I've kind of changed with this was that from the moment and here's my horrible attempt at trying to draw and I know you caught it, trying to draw with a stylus, and it's ghastly. When you come across it, it's ghastly. I know my sound is not going to correspond with the pictures, but I did what I can. But anyway, so what I changed in my writing to the pictures of the thumbnails, I realized I've really got to be concise so I can keep it on a nice flow. I don't want to put too many pictures out there. I don't want to put too few. But I do want to convey that it's a no-nonsense place, and these people are on. As soon as Ace comes into the room, all activity kind of stops. As soon as his foot hits the floor of the atrium, all eyes of the bailiffs and the staff are on him, and everybody's frozen. There's no more sounds, there's no more stirring, nothing. Everybody's watching him cross the room and enter one of the doors. And Willa looks at, she catches his eye for a brief second as he passes by, and their eyes meet, but it's like, what the heck, and then when the door clicks, that's when all activity goes back. So it was just like, wow, okay, that was like weird. So as that's happening, she goes back and she gets checked in, and that's as far as I've gotten so far. So what my pictures are showing is me struggling, trying to get a thumbnail going of what I need to create. And I'm kicking myself because I could just be creating this thing without having to struggle like I am. I'm trying to go through, trying to figure out how to make my stylus work for me, and it's not, and I just give up. I go back to drawing with the mouse. And drawing with the mouse, I've done it for years, and I don't know why I just didn't continue. So I think I can get away with, I might just do some research on stately buildings and just go ahead and trace them, change them up a little bit so that it fits the story. But I came across an artist who he has a place on Facebook where he doodles every day. I caught up with that with Will Terrell, and one of his guests draws daily. He draws a doodle a day. Jay Schultz doodle a day. Freaking awesome. And I came across one of his buildings, and I'm like, oh my god, I love your buildings. So with his inspiration, he says, give your buildings, and you got to check him out. He's Jay Schultz, and I'll leave a link to his Facebook page, his Doodle a Day page, and he was just doodling this really whimsical town. And I'm like, how freaking awesome is this? So I figure I'll have my beautiful stately building in our reality, and then I'm gonna go for broke. He says his advice to drawing backgrounds and towns and things like that is to give it a personality, give it a feel, and have it kind of loop on itself. And he's just amazing. I wish I would have came across him a long time ago. So again, just take a look at the link, and thank you so much, Will Terrell, who's also doing the 100 day of making comics. And after watching his channel, I had to try my hand at it as well, and I'm loving it so far. But this is like the first day I'm going back to work, and I am not sure how work and my other little projects are going to work with everything here. So, not sure. So, I get as far as I can, and just before I want to quit, I stop and I start to do what I love, which is draw the characters. And so I start to work on Willa before I have to go to work. And I stop working on her by the time it's, time for me to get ready for work. So, and I'll try to upload this before I leave, because I'll be home late. Okay, so some of the things I did is I went through my Facebook, because I couldn't find the files that I wanted, and so this is like original pictures of Willa, but I wanted them also to look like the Stephanie picture, and I wanted to have the same kind of style. And I'm debating on which style I want. I love the cartoony style, and I was listening to a live stream. Amaz, I think that's how he pronounces his name. He was cracking me up. I don't know much about Hearthstone, but as soon as I started watching him play and listening to his personality and everything like that, I was hooked. But I like the style of how Hearthstone is colored. So I was like, oh man, I might have to change this up a little bit. But for now, I'm just going to toss some characters out there just to get myself, give myself an idea of how I want them to kind of look, and then I'm going to maybe throw more detail on them when I get to the final product. But drawing in Flash is a lot of fun. I love how I can manipulate the items really easily and make things bigger, smaller, swap it. I can even make the eyes blink if I want to. And again, once it comes to having to draw the characters over and over and over again, I'll have instances of each character in different facial positions, possibly, depending on, as needed. But I think I might end up just doing character sheets. So the first thing on my list is to do the story, and then move on to the character sheets. Thumbnail it as so I'm kind of doing a mix of everything. Every day I'm spending I'm spending hours on this thing. I woke up this morning about 6, and I've been at it all this time. I had to find a new program to capture my screen, so that's what I was doing. And then if I'm working off screen, because I share my computer with my youngest son, who also loves to draw, and I've been trying to get him to do his comic book, to maybe do this, but I don't know, he's kind of funny like that. But he's working on 2 comic books of his own. He's getting there. He's still a novice, but he loves manga, so his is a manga. So I can't wait to see what he comes up with. Okay, well, this was day 3, and I'll let's see, tomorrow I should have maybe I'm hoping that once I finish doing my quick drawings of the first couple pages, I'll be able to show you what I've got, and then I'm debating on where I want to upload it. I was taking a look at Comic Fury, but I wasn't I don't know. I don't know about that one. Um, so once I think I'll do some more thumbnailing when I get home. If I have enough energy and if the computer's free, I'll see if I can do some more work. But I usually pounce. I think I'm going to be pouncing on it during the day since I work at night. Let's see, pounce on it for a few hours during the day and do my thing with that. I don't know, but we'll see. Again, thank you for watching, and hopefully some of this gives you some ideas or inspires you. I'm not throwing my whole day-to-day struggle or a day in the life of Kim. That's it's so dang boring. But I will show you as much as I can with my process here. So it's just another way of skinning the cat, is using Flash, and I'm enjoying it. You guys have a great one, and thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to leave a comment, like, or subscribe. And if you have any ideas, because I'm still in the early stages, I can be influenced, and I've started a Patreon, so if anybody would like to add their little sticky finger of fate into anything, become a Patreon and a patron of mine, and by all means, the godlike powers can be yours to influence the story. So, but as I was coming up with that idea in the Patreon, I was coming up with another idea of having one that was completely finger of fate type of thing. And I don't want to distract from this story too much, but I think that will be the sequel to this. Once I finish this story, oh my goodness, it's going to be fun. I can't wait to work on that one. I was almost going to do that one instead of this one as the 100-day challenge, but I'm like, I want to get a bigger following first. That way I can really get some really fun fingers of fate into the pie. That would be what I would be calling Gulag 13. I've already got a name for it. But anyway, again, thank you for watching, and have a great one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye-bye.